morning everyone. My name is Yash and I am here with my team Nicholas, Shani and Yasin to deliver a webinar on planning a trip. In here we plan out a 50-day trip to 10 cities situated in various parts of the world. The planning includes selecting cities, finding air tickets to and from these cities, checking local weather, looking out for transportation and housing, searching for best restaurants and tourist places in the city, and last but not the least, estimating the total cost for the trip. So starting from Chicago, we will visit capital of the United States, which is Washington DC, followed by Rome, the capital of Italy, then Geneva in the Switzerland, then London in England, followed by Stockholm in Sweden. Then we go to Chengdu in China, followed by Moscow in Russia, then to Osaka in Japan, then to Montreal in Canada, and finally we get back to Chicago. So I asked Nicholas to tell us more about the first leg of our trip, which starts from Washington and ends at Geneva.
For the first three destinations, from Washington to Chicago to Rome and finally Geneva, the flights have been booked thanks to Lidigo.com, which is a website which compares different flight companies with the price comparison, and I can choose this way the cheapest three consecutive flights. So for these three flights, the total price is for $2,368 for four. For our housing in Washington, between January 17th and January 21st, I chose an apartment near downtown thanks to Airbnb website for $1,288 for four. For the transportation, it will cost us approximately $100, and we'll use Uber.
Our whole trip is in winter, so each place we visit will be very cold. In Washington, the temperature will be between 22 to 50 Fahrenheit, so wearing sweaters, parkas, and hats to keep yourself warm. We will visit three famous restaurants in Washington: the Rosie Luxury, which is famous for its pork sausage, and in Karen restaurant, people like its veg combo. The last one is Calabash. Tuna tartar of it is deserved a try.
The city of Washington is famous for holding the White House, that offers tours with advance reservations, and the Washington Monument, built in honor of first U.S. President George Washington. Other interesting places to visit are the International Spy Museum, the National Geographic Museum, and the National Archives.
For Rome, between January 22nd and January 28th, the apartment is located near Vatican City for $500 for four. The transportation is still Uber for $100.
We will spend 7 days in Rome in January, but luckily there will no snow or rain. The weather is warmer than Washington, but you still have to wear more clothes to keep warm. The three famous local restaurants in Rome we will visit are showed in this PowerPoint. All these three restaurants have great traditional Italian food like meat and cheese.
The city of Rome is rich in culture and monuments that still stands after more than 1,000 years. But the most famous of all monument is indeed the Colosseum. The National Gallery of Modern Art and Trajan's Column are also interesting places worth visiting.
Then Geneva, between January 28th and February 2nd, the apartment is located near the lakes for $800 with 2 bedrooms, 2 beds, 1 kitchen, and the internet. The transportation is still with Uber.
The weather in Geneva will be similar to Rome during the days we visit, but it is much more wetter than Rome, which will make you feel colder. So besides sweaters and parkas, wear your hats and scarves too. This page shows the three restaurants we will visit. The first one has delicious platters. The second one, Birdie, provided fantastic coffee, and Edwards is famous for its great salad.
Geneva is a city that caught up significantly with its delay in many historical and cultural fields since the last century. As such, most of historical places to visit feels more modern and recent. Some places of interest are the Natural History Museum, the Art and History Museum, and the Ethnological Museum.
The next three destinations are London, Stockholm, and Chengdu. All the flights have been booked via Liligo.com. It's still the cheapest way, and for a total price of $1,732 for four. Transportation and housing in London between February 2nd and February 11th. The apartment is near the Big Ben, and it's for approximately $1,200 for four. The transportation will be still with Uber for $100.
We will spend 10 days in London in February. The weather will be similar to other European cities we visit, but much more rainy days. So, besides wearing winter clothes, remember to take your umbrellas with you every day. In London, we will try the famous English food, fish and chips in Oliver Market, and taste barbecue in Estancia, Brazil. The coffee puddings in Fiona's restaurant also attract us.
London has many interesting monuments and museums to visit. One can always visit the Monument to the Great Fire of London and the Battle of Britain Monument that relate the memory of past hardships, and London Museum of Water and Steam of the country that led the Industrial Revolution.
So in Stockholm, between February 11th and February 16th, we will have an apartment near downtown for a bit less than $400 for four, with 3 beds this time, and a kitchen and still the internet. This transportation will stay the same with Uber for $100.
Stockholm is in north of Europe, so it will be colder than other cities we visit before. It will also have rain and snow during the days we visit. So wear warm sweaters, waterproof parkas, also your hats and gloves. The 3 restaurants we chose in Stockholm are all provided classic Swedish food, such like potato pancake called raggmunk, Swedish meatballs, and a kind of potato dumplings called kroppkak.
In addition to its Scandinavian culture and society, Stockholm also has the Stockholm City Museum, the Museum of Medieval Stockholm, and the Branding Monument as interesting places to visit.
In Chengdu, they are street transportation between February 17th and February 21st. The apartment is still near downtown for $250, and the transportation here will cost us $50.
We will visit Chengdu of China during February 17th to February 21st. These 5 days will be cold but sunny, so keep wearing your winter clothes to keep warm. Chengdu has many kinds of delicious Chinese food. We will try shaguo in Lixuan, hot pot in Flair Restaurant, and spicy dumplings in Longchaoshou.
Chengdu is an old city that grew from being a regional capital to being an empire's capital and the strategical center of the Kingdom of Shu during the Three Kingdoms era of China. What can be visited now includes the Mao Zedong statue, the Wenzhou Monastery, and the People's Park.
The next 3 destinations are Moscow, Osaka, and Montreal. This time I have done it with Liligo.com, but I have used to Go Voyage, which is a booking flight website, so it's pretty easier to book some flights, and for a total cost of $6,125. We will be in Moscow between February 21st and March 1st. The apartment is near the center of Moscow. It's for a bit more than $400 for four, with the kitchen and all the accommodation we need. The transportation is with Uber for $1,000.
Moscow will be the coldest city we visit. The highest temperature during we visit will be only 23 Fahrenheit. So put on clothes as much as you can and avoid going out in the evening. In Moscow, we will try some Russian flavored steaks in Bison Steakhouse. We will also visit Sava to test classic Russian fish loaf and trying Olivia salad in Turandot.
The history of Moscow is filled with testimonies of war and technological outbreaks. The Museum of the Great Patriotic War, the Shitik Memorial, and the Museum of the Moscow Railway are places of great interest for a better understanding of the city's history.
Then we will be in Osaka from March 2nd to March 9th. The apartment is still near the center for $635 with 3 beds, kitchen, and the internet. The transportation this time, because Uber doesn't exist there, we will use the taxi, but it's really cheap, so $500. It's kind of an estimation.
We will spend 8 days in Osaka in March. Although it will be spring in Japan at that time, the weather will be still cold, but no rain or snow. So keep wearing sweaters, parkas, long pants to keep warm. The 3 local restaurants I chose for us are famous Japanese traditional restaurants. We can try fresh sushi, ramen, and wagyu beef there. Wagyu beef is a predominant beef breed in beef production in Japan.
Osaka was for a time the second Kyoto of Japan, before Tokyo was even built. The main place of interest is Osaka Castle, that was built by the regent Hideyoshi Toyotomi as a primary residence, and to keep the emperor far from court intrigues. Other places of interest are the Osaka Science Museum and the Yuzoji.
So in Montreal, for the housing and the transportation between March 9th and March 13th, the apartment is still near the center of Montreal for $250 and the transportation still with Uber for $100.
The 5 days we stay on Montreal will be cold, rainy, but no snow. My dressing suggestion is keep wearing your sweaters and parkas to keep yourself warm and take an umbrella with you every day. We chose 3 local restaurants in Montreal, which provided the most classic traditional Canadian food, like bagels, smoked meat, and Wilinski special.
Montreal, just like Geneva, are a city of growing modern culture and science, with many museums to visit such as the Black Watch of Canada Museum, the History Centre of Montreal, the Montreal Museum of Fine Arts, and the Montreal Biodome.
Then they came back home in Chicago, so the flight with Liligo.com. I have still used GoVoyage, which is a booking flight website, to book the flight, and for a total price of $567 for 4.
Thank you, Nicholas. Let's discuss about how much of a 50-day trip will cost for 4 people. Starting with flights, for first leg of our trip, it will cost $2,368. The second leg will cost $1,732. The third leg will cost $6,125. And the last leg from Montreal to Chicago will cost $567. Let's discuss about housing and transportation cost. To save time required to transit from tourist places to hotel and vice versa, we will stay at the center of the city. For tourist places which are at some distance, we will be booking an Uber. So, total cost for staying in Washington will be $1,328. In Rome, it will be $580. In Geneva, it will be $790. In London, it will be $1,832. In Stockholm, it will be $497. In Chengdu, it will be $350. In Moscow, it will be $505. In Osaka, $685. And in Montreal, it will be $355. We will be needing tourist visas for each country. So cost for visa of Schengen countries will be $264. England visa will be $640. Canadian visa will be $298. Chinese visa will be $120. Russian visa will be $196. And the Japanese visa will cost $116 for 4 people. So summing up all the costs mentioned before, the trip will cost $18,846 for 4 people, which is $4,712 per person. Traveling to 10 different countries with 10 different cultures, it looks like a good deal. Thank you all for your attention. If you have any questions, please post it down in the comment section. Thank you.